Hey guys, we're just going to do a quick review about graphing. I know we did the lab, so you should have an idea, and we should remember how to graph back from middle school. But in case you need a little review, let's do this pretty quick. So the directions say, let's sketch the graph of each line. So we have an equation. So unlike the lab where we actually took data and we had those different data points, those order pairs to graph, now we actually got to create those order pairs to see what this line looks like. So we're going to do that by making a table, and we want to plot a minimum of 4 points. So we need to have a minimum of 2 points to have a straight line, but we can make any 2 points into a straight line, but that doesn't necessarily mean that this equation is going to be a straight line. So the more points that we have, 4, 5, or 6, we're going to get a better trend of is it a straight line or is the graph going to curve, which we will see later on. So we got to make our table, and so we know that we have our x coordinate and we have our y coordinate of our order pair. So I'm going to put up here x and y, and so these are going to be the table that we're going to graph later on. But we actually got to figure out what these points are. And so the videos that you saw and what we talked about in class is that we need to choose different x values. So I'm going to choose values for x. I'm going to substitute them into my equation. I'm going to evaluate it and see what y would be for that given x. And that's how I'm going to get my order pair to graph. So down here I'm going to do my work. So let's say I have x. So I'm going to choose, let's say, -2, -1, 0, and 2. Again, you could choose 5 or 6 points if you wanted. Now in the middle is where I'm going to do my work to evaluate, and then the right is where I'm going to get what the output is going to be. So we're inputting x, and we're going to figure out what y is. So in this table, I'm going to write my work down, and so if I were to substitute -2 in for x, I'm going to get 2 times -2 plus 1. 2 times -2 for order of operations comes before adding, so we get -4. -4 plus 1 is -3, so my output is -3. So if I input -2, I get -3 for y. So my ordered pair would be if x is -2, y is -3. Now I'm just going to do that for the other 4 points. So 2 times -1 plus 1. So 2 times -1 is -2. -2 plus 1 is -1. 2 times 0 plus 1, 2 times 0 is 0, 0 plus 1 is 1, 2 times 2 is 4, 4 plus 1 is 5. So my 4 points are -2, -3, -1, -1, 0, and 1, and 2, and 5. And so again, these would be our ordered pairs. And that's what we're going to graph. And that was like the data that we got when we did the toy car lab. Instead of x and y, we had time and we had distance. So these actually had meaning, but we ended up getting the same kind of data points. So this is going to be our coordinate of where we're going to go to. So we always start at the origin. We're going to go -2 in the x direction, and then we're going to go -3, so 3 down. And we're going to drop our point there. We go -1 and -1, 0 and 1 and 2 and 5. And so what we end up seeing is that all those points line up in a straight line, and so I can sketch what the graph would look like. It doesn't have to be perfect. If you want to get out a ruler, you can, but I just kind of quickly freehand it. So that's what the graph would look like. Now we could have chose different ones. You could have chose 1.5, you could have chose half as fractions, and you just would have ended up with points here in the middle. Alright, so these aren't the only points that you could have chose. You could have chose other ones as well. So let's do the second example. So same thing, we need to end up with what are our ordered pairs that we're going to graph to see what the graph looks like. So down here I'm going to do my work. So I'm going to input, I'm going to choose the same ones again just because I want to. Well, no, let's change it up. So I'll go -2, I'll go -1, 0, and 1. So not much difference, but a little bit. So now if we substitute what we're choosing in for x, so I'm going to choose -2 in for x. So I plug it in, I'm going to get -2 times -2 minus 4. So a -2 times a -2 is a +4. +4 minus 4 is 0. I have -2 times a -1 minus 4. So that's a +2 minus 4 is a -2. We have 0. So -2 times 0 is 0. 0 minus 4 is -4. And if I choose 1, negative 2 times 1 minus 4. We get negative 2 minus 4 is negative 6. And so my points would be negative 2, 0, negative 1, negative 2, 0, negative 4, 1, negative 6. And again, that's these guys. So these are our ordered pairs. So I'm going to graph those. So negative 2 in the x, 0, y, so that would be that point. Negative 1, negative 2, 0, negative 4, and 1, negative 6. And again, once we have those 4 points, we can see that we have a pretty straight line. So we're going to draw our line. And again, just like the last problem, I could have chose negative 4, I could have chose negative 1.5, we could have chose 1/2. So these aren't the only points you can choose. Alright, hopefully you understand and you're good with graphing equations.